So, he asks Kion whether the Duke has returned yet. Kion replies that the Duke sent the knights back first, saying that he had something to get. William says that it's dangerous to be in the northern seas alone. He knows that the Duke is strong, but he is actually worried about the Duke. Kion tells William not to worry because the northern seas are just merely a playing ground for the Duke. Moreover, he says that the ones they should be worrying about are the monsters that have to face the Duke. It must have been hard. From what I heard, Miss Lorina brought back a barbarian, Kion asks. William replies that he is completely fine, though. Kion states that he is not talking about William. He is referring to Miss Lorina, as she's got a frail heart and would have a hard time for a few days just because she saw a pitiful animal. What about the Special Forces members that came with her? Can they be entrusted with the safety of Miss Lorina? Kion questions. William replies that they are competent, but at the same time, they are young with less experience. Though there's someone named Yan among them, and he seems pretty extraordinary. As long as he's around, William don't think they'd have to worry about Miss Lorina. Suddenly, Kion feels uneasy. He says that maybe it's because he has grown old, but even with Miss Lorina's return, he somehow feels like something bad is about to happen. After hearing this, William gets a little confused and asks what does Sir Kion mean by it. Kion replies that he feels like a storm is about to happen. At the side building of the Beowulf Castle, Moman is floating and drinking an orange juice. After staying here for many days, Moman perceives that they were arguing for several days over one child, but they've gone quiet recently and have even stopped talking about the child. She was told by Yan that there'll be a break on barbarian subjugation for a while. They've only gathered 3 flags so far. She wonders when they'll gather them all, although they were only able to gather 3 flags because she helped. She smiles as she says that Yan should learn magic from her properly instead of swinging his sword recklessly. Previously, Moman had to use up all the mana that she had secretly accumulated, and Yan did praise her. But now, as she thinks about it, she realizes that she was deceived. So, she yells at Yan to return her mana. Meanwhile, William and Cruel are having a friendly battle. William is guiding Cruel how to wield a sword better. He gives advice to Cruel, saying that Cruel should move his body more and tells him to be careful about his right side because it's open and vulnerable to attack. William tells Cruel that he is stiff, so he should charge in closer. William states that the match is unfair because he is using a wooden sword while Cruel is using a real sword. How am I supposed to win with a wooden sword? He asks. Cruel says that this level of handicap is justified because he is fighting the captain. Why the sudden duel? I guess you're too bored, huh? Moman asks. Yan replies that he felt this after fighting Kabur. They're still way too weak, and if it weren't for Moman, they might have been in danger. Moman says that he doesn't have to flatter her just to deceive her later. Yan obtained some information about Aelon, but every time he touched it, it reacted and refused him. Yet the Northern Knights didn't feel any reaction at all. They just said that it felt a little heavy. Yan perceives that maybe this could be due to the unique mana usage method of the Beowulf. They create the snow soul in their energy core and use it to amplify their mana. That precisely may be the reason. He says that the snow soul uses a similar logic to the mana heart. So he is trying to see if there's anything more he can learn from their fight. But why is Cruel the one fighting? Moman asks. Yan replies that it's precisely because he got sick of beating others up, so he wants to see someone else beating another person up. Moman says that even though she is a lich, she thinks Yan's personality is pretty messed up. Did something happen during your childhood days? She questions. In addition, she states that she will conduct some therapy sessions for Yan, and it's not an exaggeration because she is being serious. At that moment, Kion, with his escort knights, greets Yan and introduces himself. Yan also introduces himself while saying that he is extremely sorry that he couldn't meet Kion earlier. Keon, being humble, tells Yan that he doesn't have to worry about that, and he can be at ease. Keon says that he has heard that Yan defeated Chieftain Kabur and praises him because it's an impressive feat for someone so young. Yan says that he got lucky. Lorina and the other Special Forces members already damaged Chieftain a lot, and he happened to finish him off. But you talk in a way such that you seem pretty close to Miss Lorina. What's your relationship with her? Aren't you acting too friendly with her? Are you looking down on her? Answer me immediately. What did you do to Miss Lorina? What did you do? Keon asks a series of questions. Yan thinks that all the old men in this vicinity are abnormal. He wonders whether it's due to the cold. To slide this topic, Yan says that it's a misunderstanding since he doesn't have a lot of interactions with Miss Lorina, nor is he close with her. Keon gets relieved and apologizes to Yan for jumping into conclusions. But after that, another series of questions came forward. But why don't you have any interactions with her? Do you think she's not good enough to be interacted with? Why don't you like her? What did you do to her? Did you make her cry or hurt her? What did you do? Keon asks abruptly, while Yan is now getting sick of this. Suddenly, the mood changes between them as Keon tries to look into Yan seriously. He now knows why William praised Yan. He perceives that while Yan may look like a rank, 5 knight on the outside, immense potential is hidden within him. In that case, he hands Yan a wooden sword and asks for a duel with his youngest knight, who is pretty skilled too. Knight Mir from the Frost Knights reveals his face and introduces himself. Yan smirks, as he thinks that this opportunity came at the perfect time. Yan accepts the challenge by saying that it's fine by him, but he says that the knight could use a real sword if he wants to. Other knights, standing in the back, think that Yan is being arrogant. Keon laughs as he says that Yan is overflowing with confidence like kids these days do. So, he seriously tells Mir not to go easy and use his full strength to defeat his opponent. Without lingering, Mir charges at Yan, saying that he should be the one to use a real sword, but in a blink of an eye, Mir's sword was broken and Yan's sword is near Mir's neck. It became obvious who the winner was, but more surprisingly, the battle was over with merely one move. He subdued a Frost Knight with just one attack. Every knight watching the battle wonders how it is possible. "Are you all right?" Yan asks as he glares at his opponent. At the northern rock-thorn forest, Vilai asks whether the Duke is still in the northern seas. An old man replies that the Beowulf man hasn't left yet. He commands in the name of Commander Chieftain Vilai to gather all the chieftains. In the next scene at the battle arena, Cruel accepts his defeat. William praises him by saying that he did excellent and he improved as they sparred, and that's a fearsome talent to have. Cruel tells William that he must be kidding, because none of his attacks even scratched William. Lastly, William states that the Dwight household has a bright future. At that moment, they noticed that the Frost Knights are here. The fact that Yan defeated a Frost Knight was quite surprising. The knight thinks that it's an impossible feat to achieve. As Yan stands in front of the knights, he wonders whether he hurt their pride, but surprisingly enough, the knights were rather thrilled and wanted to test themselves against Yan, instead of getting hurt and sad over such trifle matters. After the fight, Mir thanks Yan for the battle. Yan humbly replies that it's his pleasure to fight him. Mir compliments Yan by saying that he has some incredible skills for someone of his age. The other knights taunt Mir. They say that Mir, despite being older than Yan, his skills aren't that impressive, and that now he is just trying to act cool. Yan thinks that it's impressive that the knights aren't bothered at all. Moreover, knights are usually very concerned about honor and pride. Whenever they lose, they would either be in utter despair or acknowledge their loss. For them, risking their lives for battles is the norm in life. Does losing like this not hurt their pride? Yan wonders. He perceives that such attitude is probably the secret to becoming strong, and he guesses they're not called the Northern Wall for nothing. Then, the 99th Knight of the Frost Knights named Lorina asks for a duel. Jan accepts the duel by saying that this is great since he still hasn't figured out how the North uses their mana. Lorina says that he is extremely sorry that Mir didn't respect Jan at first. So, to cover it up, he decides to go all out from the start. Jan sees that he can easily notice the trajectory of the sword and quickly thinks of a way to defeat his opponent. He uses speed to his advantage and rapidly moves to the knight's blind spot and deals an attack. Lorina acknowledges Jan's incredible skills and accepts defeat. After seeing this, every knight wants to battle Jan. Meanwhile, William and Keon are having a chat. William asks Keon about his observation regarding Jan. Keon replies that now he understands why William holds such high praises for Jan. William says that Cruel is not bad, but when compared, Jan is in a different league of his own. He says that Snake, instructor commander, created Jan. He thought that the instructor was just some snake that only played politics in the capital. Isn't it such a waste for Jan to be under him? William asks. Keon replies that Jan would grow so much more if he joined the Beowulf household. In second thought, Keon says that he can't let such flies start to gather around Miss Lorina. He is sure Jan will have ulterior motives towards her, so he must stop that now. William agrees with Keon while saying that he is correct, and how dare a kid like Jan act so arrogantly towards our Miss Lorina. The captains announce that they should all stop here right now and continue tomorrow, but suddenly the enemy charges and another misfortune falls above them. They all hear the sound of horn, which is only used when the territory is in a state of emergency. What on earth is happening? William asks worriedly. At that moment, the chief butler Han announces that all knights within the territory are to take up their arms. He alerts Keon and William saying that the territory is being attacked. All of them wonder who is the one attacking this territory. All of their questions are answered when the commander chieftain Vilai enters with his army. Jan gets shocked by knowing that Vilai is here. According to him, this isn't the time period when Vilai appears. Did history change again? He wonders. Han notices that the third castle walls have already been broken and they're advancing very quickly. William demands to know the current situation of the castle from one of his knights. The knight briefly explains that the third knights are defending the second castle walls. They've judged that it's possible to defend at the third castle walls which have been broken. Residents have been evacuated. They've now retreated to the second castle walls, but their enemies are in great numbers, so the situation in terms of defense isn't looking that good. William asks how many enemies are there. The knight informs that a rough estimate would put them at around 30,000. How could we not have realized that such a big number of them were moving about? Where are our rangers? William questions fiercely. The knight replies that all the spy squad rangers have been killed, and it seems they were targeted right after they figured out who our enemies were. After hearing all of this, Han decides and orders that Keon and the Frost Knights are to head towards the first castle walls and help with evacuating the residents, whereas William and the heavy armored knights are to help the Sand Castle walls with their defense. He says that he knows how William feels, but they need to protect the territory first. Meanwhile, Jan is thinking that the history has changed again. To make things worse, it's going in the direction he was worried it'd go. Just what has changed between my previous life and now? Did it change because I came to Beowulf? He thinks deeply. He perceives that as long as the suppression force known as Beowulf is around, Vilai had chosen not to invade the territory. Did Vilai come up with other means to deal with Beowulf? He wonders. Then he tries to think what has changed due to his travel to Beowulf. With his decision of choosing to travel to the north, the things that changed would be Lorina and the others. An informer of Vilai informs that the third castle walls have fallen and they are advancing to the Sent Castle walls now. Vili orders that only let those who are fast on their feet and have great eyesight may advance and must take the enemy down. After thinking about all of the possible situations, Jan comes down to a single conclusion. He figured out that the Vili is after Lorina, and he intends to take Lorina hostage, but maybe there is another real target. At Beowulf Dukedom, in the Western Castle's second wall, Beowulf Third Knights, named the White Knight Knights, are facing the enemies head-on. They are aiming to stop the enemies entering the castle, and they intend to do it even if their limbs are cut off. They will stop them with their mouth. The team leader of the second team, of the White Knights, shouts that they hold out until the Duke comes back. "Warriors, be enraged! My brothers, it's time to seek the revenge of blood! Today is the day we hold the festival of soul consolation. For our brothers that died powerlessly, let's avenge the grudge of our brothers. After today, the master of the North will be us," the commander chieftain Vili screams to increase the morale of his fellows. Meanwhile, Lorina and Cheryl are handling some of the enemies. As they fight, Lorina asks Cheryl whether she is all right. Cheryl replies that she is fine, but the enemies seem endless. Lorina states that if this keeps going, even the buildings with children in them would be in danger. So she orders Cheryl to bring all the children to safety, while she stops the enemies. Cheryl gets worried as she says that stopping the enemies alone is impossible. Lorina replies that even if the enemies gang up on her, it would be easier for her to run when she is alone. Cheryl decides to follow Lorina's order. She tells Lorina to hang there just a little longer, and she will return quickly. After Cheryl's departure, a barbarian attacks Lorina while saying the word "found." Lorina senses the attack coming and looks back. She seems rather troubled as she wants to know what the enemy meant by the word "found." Suddenly, the enemy stops. Lorina asks, why isn't he finishing his attack? Surprisingly, the barbarian was stopped and killed by Jan. He also says the word "found." This time, it pisses Lorina. "You too? What on earth did you guys find?" she asks. Without lingering, Jan grabs her hand and starts running. Lorina gets puzzled. She asks Jan why he is suddenly holding her hand and wants to know where they are going. Jan explains that they need to hurry and they're going into the castle right now because Lorina is the enemy's target. "Wait, the barbarians are targeting me," Lorina repeats. Jan conveys that the commander chieftain is after her because she is Duke Beowulf's weakness. In addition, the commander intends to capture Duke Beowulf by using her as the bait, and Jan barely stopped that from happening. But they will start to lose the moment he goes on a rampage. He says that if Lorina gets caught here, their situation will turn absolutely hopeless. So he tells her that even if he have to die here, she must escape. This conversation makes Lorina angry. She shouts that she will never run away alone when her friends are dying. As they are ruining, Jan hears the sound of something big coming at them. Both of them notice that it's the castle's steeple. He pushes Lorina back and tells her to stay safe. Due to the steeple, Lorina hurts her leg. To think the steeple was thrown at them. Is a human capable of doing that? She wonders. She calls Jan multiple times, yet there is no reply, and she gets worried thinking about him. At that moment, a voice is heard. Lorina sees that it's the commander chieftain Vili. "Was that a little too rough for a greeting?" Vili asks as he stands above the steeple. He says that since Lorina already knows who he is, then there's nothing else to talk about. Lorina senses that immense pressure is exuding from Vili. It's her first time feeling so intimidated. She perceives, now that her leg is injured, there's no chance of winning if the fight gets dragged on. So she must put an end to it in an instant. Vili observes that Lorina is focusing all of her mana in one place. "Do you intend to end this fight in an instant?" he asks as he closes the distance between them in a flash, as if he teleported. Lorina gets astonished to think that she didn't see him approaching her. In fact, she didn't even feel it. The strength of the commander chieftain shocks her to the core. Vilai moves his hand towards her while saying that she won't get hurt if she follow him quietly. After all, she is an important card, so he doesn't intend to hurt her. Vilai notices the slight movement of Lorina's eyes and moves his hand to attack. Vilai says that she is a young kid, whose eyes are way too genuine as he kills Jan with a single shot, or so it seems. The commander smiles as he says that he already knew Jan was hiding from the start. His eyes won't and can't be deceived. But then, he realizes he was actually deceived by magic. Jan, while carrying Lorina in his arms, tells Vilai that since he relies on his eyes too much, he can't differentiate between a person and a clone. "How do you know how to use magic?" Lorina asks confusedly. The commander looks at Jan angrily. Jan tells Vilai that this is their first time meeting, but he doesn't really want to meet him right now, though. Meanwhile, Lorina is telling Jan countless times to let her down. Vilai glares at Jan fiercely, stating that Jan is getting all arrogant just because he deceived his enemy once. Vilai says that it'll take him less than a minute to shred Jan to pieces. Jan confidently asks whether Vilai has the time to do that. Vilai seems a little confused. Jan replies that Vilai's real target will disappear while he fights. After hearing this, Vilai pretends to say that his real target is in front of him, and that's Lorina. Jan repeats his words. He says that he is talking about Vilai's real target. "Aelon, isn't that what you're really after?" Jan asks. Aelon is a sword that's said to have obtained the power of a ruler and has won every battle. With that sword, subjugating the empire would no longer be a dream. Jan says that if Vilai wants, Jan can tell him the location of the sword, but in contrast, he will be taking Lorina in return because he has more important business with her. "So, if I let the two of you go, you'll tell me the location of the sword?" Vilai asks. Lorina speaks using telepathy with Jan. She asks whether the dragon sword truly exists. Jan replies that it's in the weapon vault. Lorina seems a little confused, so Jan explains that of course he is going to give that sword, but he has some other plans and the sword will be nothing but a bait. Jan has been bothered by the fact that Vilai lived in the Beowulf dukedom when he was younger. He thought maybe Vilai knew about the existence of the dragon sword. With Vilai's eyes, he could easily detect the sword's magic power. Even if he didn't know about it, he wouldn't be able to ignore the existence of the dragon sword. So, Jan decided to throw a delicious-looking bait at Vilai to bite. Vilai gets angry because Jan referred to the sword as the dragon sword. He fiercely says, "That sword is the sword of a ruler, and it's a legendary sword passed down by their tribe, proving that he has bit the bait." Jan tells Vilai that he doesn't have time, as the knights are going to get the sword and move it to a safe place. And Duke Beowulf is about to come back soon. So it's Vilai's time to make a choice, the sword or Lorina. Vilai replies that he doesn't like choice. Instead, he makes choices. He says that he will choose number 3, which is to kill Jan and take both the sword and the girl, as he instantly closes the gap between them. Both Lorina and Jan move backwards out of sheer reflexes. Vilai releases his battle aura, which is so immense that it pushes them even further. "How dare you try and negotiate with me?" Vilai asks as he is about to kick Jan. He says that he will make sure that Jan tells him the location of the sword while begging for his life. Vilai uses a strong attack named the gravity pressure while Jan smirks. Jan barely dodged that attack, but it was crystal clear that Vilai held back on that last attack. Jan questions Vilai whether his heart has grown soft. Vilai says that he simply stopped because he spotted a familiar item on Jan's waist, and that's the bracelet of Kabur. Vilai wants to know why Jan has it. Jan replies that he got it from Kabur. In fact, Kabur entrusted it to him, and Kabur told Jan to carry his will. Was that Kabur's last moment? Vilai questions. Jan states that, even up until his last moments, He only thought of his tribe. Kabur was a simple and strong warrior, and he respects him for that. After hearing this, Vilai says that he will let Jan go if he shares the location of the sword. Vilai states that this is the respect he is showing to the person who inherited Kabur's will. Humpaye. You want me to abandon my teammate and run away alone? Jan asks. Vilai replies that it's precisely the case because if Jan doesn't do this, he will die here helplessly. In addition, Vilai says that Jan can't defeat him, and that's why Jan used the sword to negotiate, and as Jan is not even from Beowulf running away, will be the best course of action. He tells Jan not to get swept into an unnecessary fight and lose his life meaninglessly. Jan makes a serious face, and the scenes end. After some time, we see that Jan left Lorina to Vilai, or so it seems. Vilai says that he looks forward to seeing the reaction of the Duke. He wonders what kind of a face that monster will make after seeing his daughter in this state as he is about to touch Lorina. Suddenly, he hears a voice saying that Vilai trusts those eyes of his that can see magic power too much, and that's the reason why Vilai keeps getting deceived. Jan previously used puppet magic to create a puppet of Lorina, which he deliberately handed to Vilai. Lastly, Jan's voice says that the location of the sword is real, so Vilai should hurry up. Vilai gets enraged after hearing this voice. Meanwhile, Jan is carrying Lorina and flying away as far as he can, since he has told Vilai the real location of the sword. Jan is confident that Vilai will go after the sword and will not chase them. Ha ha ha! Did you see that? The exquisiteness of my magic? It's on a completely different level than your unrefined too, isn't it? Moman asks as she pops up from Jan's back. Moman questions whether Jan took Kabur's bracelet on purpose. Jan replies that he knew he wouldn't be able to get past Vilai, and it looks like the bracelet helped. What's more important is that he needs to wake Lorina up first, because he needs her help to get the sword. Didn't you give up on the sword? Moman questions. Jan answers saying that he would never hand it over to someone else after going through so much for it. Moreover, the sword has a defense magic. Not even Vilai will be able to get the sword easily, and when it happens, Jan has other plans too. Vilai enters the Beowulf weapon vault, fully enraged, thinking that if it isn't the right place, he would kill that kid for lying. Then he notices the magic power of Aelon, also known as the Sword of the Ruler. If he obtains this, he could even fight the Duke. He decides to kill the Duke with it as he tries to grab it. You are not qualified. A deep voice comes from within the sword, radiating immense magic power. Vilai smiles as he says that a mere sword is daring enough to make a fuss.